Hey everyone, it's Caitlin and welcome to another video and happy holidays. Today we are going to be talking all about cookies, which in my opinion is a quintessential holiday treat. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make 3 different cookie recipes. I have them all right here. They're all similar but different and all delicious in their own right. So we have some cashew butter snickerdoodles, which are really yummy, and they have that perfect balance of cinnamon plus sweetness from some coconut sugar, and they're more of a fluffy, slightly chewy cookie. And then we're also going to make some tahini sugar cookies. These are a little bit bigger and thinner, and they're really crispy the first day you make them, and then they get nice and soft and chewy as well. And then last but not least, we're going to be making some double chocolate peppermint cookies, and these are more of a fluffy, more like doughy cookie. Before we get into these recipes though, I want to say that this video is proudly sponsored by So Delicious Dairy Free. We're going to be using their organic almond milk with cashew in all these cookie recipes, and what better way to enjoy cookies than with a nice glass of dairy-free milk. I love So Delicious products, just like all the recipes in this video. Their products are made from really simple and yummy and totally recognizable ingredients. I will link a product locator to their website in the description below, but for now we're going to get on to making some cookies. So first, we're actually going to be making our tahini sugar cookies. To start out, we're going to cream our coconut sugar and tahini together in a bowl. If you don't have coconut sugar, you can also use brown sugar, but you want something with more of a caramelly flavor. Also, the brand of tahini that you use does make a difference. You want one that's nice and runny. I have suggestions for my favorite brand in the blog post, which is linked below as always. But like I said, you're going to take an electric mixer and cream the sugar and tahini together. I imagine that you could also do this in a food processor. It won't work quite as well, but if you don't have a hand mixer, it'll do. So once it's nice and well incorporated, we're going to add just a little bit of oat flour, some applesauce, which gives the cookies a nice fluffy texture, some vanilla extract, some salt, some baking powder, and last but not least, our So Delicious organic almond milk with cashew to help thin out the batter a little bit and add a slight touch of creaminess to these cookies. So again, you can mix this by hand if you want, but I already dirtied my electric mixer, so I just decided to cream all the ingredients together until we have a nice dough set like this. The dough is a little bit runny though, so you're going to want to refrigerate it for at least 10 minutes just to make the cookies easier to form. So you're going to take 2 tablespoon circles of the dough and place them on a lined baking tray. You do want to leave a little bit of space between the cookies because, as you can see here, after you bake them, they do spread out a little bit. And at first they're going to be nice and puffy like this, but the cookies are really soft. You want to let them cool completely on the tray. And as you can see here, they flatten a bit and they get those crispy edges and that nice chewy interior. So after the cookies cool for about 5 to 10 minutes on the baking tray, you want to use a spatula to remove them to a baking rack, let them cool completely, and then you are ready to serve and enjoy them. I really love these tahini sugar cookies because the tahini gives them a nice nutty caramelly flavor, and they're a nice twist. A lot of vegan cookies are fluffier, and this just has a nice textural variation, and they're also great to give to people who have nut allergies as well. So next we are going to be making some cashew butter snickerdoodles, and snickerdoodles were actually my favorite cookie ever as a kid, so I was really happy to recreate these. We're going to start by making a flax egg by mixing some ground flax with water and then setting that aside for a few minutes to thicken. And then in the meantime, we are going to mix our dry ingredients together. For this recipe, I am using a gluten-free all-purpose flour blend, but I've also made these cookies with spelt flour if you're not gluten-free, so you can use that as well. Again, the recipe instructions are in the blog post. And here we're also adding in some cinnamon, some cream of tartar, some baking powder, and some salt. Full measurements again in the blog post. You're going to add that to your flour and then mix everything until it is well combined. And while we're at it, we're also going to go ahead and make our cinnamon sugar mixture to dip the cookies in just by mixing some coconut or again brown sugar with some cinnamon and setting that aside. So now we're going to add all of our wet ingredients to a bowl. So here we have some cashew butter. These are cashew butter snickerdoodles, but if you have an allergy, you could also use almond butter, peanut butter if you want peanut butter cinnamon cookies. But regardless, we're also going to add some coconut sugar, that thickened flax egg, and our So Delicious almond milk with cashew again. Just a little bit to help, again, thin the batter out. We're also going to add some apple cider vinegar and some vanilla extract. And then we're going to use our electric mixer again to beat everything together until it is well combined and you have a nice, thick, liquidy paste. So then now we're going to add our flour and cinnamon mixture that we made previously. And then again, just mix this together to form our cookie dough. Depending on the flour you use, use. You might need to use a little bit more or a little bit less flour. If you're using a gluten-free flour blend, I find that you often have to add more than if you're using spelt flour. But either way, you want your cookie dough to be pretty thick, and we're just going to set it in the fridge for a bit to allow it to harden to, again, make the cookies easier to form. Once everything is set, you're going to make 2 tablespoon sized balls of dough. The dough still is a little sticky, so I recommend having wet hands for this. It prevents sticking. And you're going to roll out your cookie dough ball and then place it in the cinnamon sugar mixture that we made before. You can do one side or both sides. I just did one side because that's the side that's on top. And then place it on a silicone mat. And as you can see here, the cookies do spread out a little as you lay them down. So you really don't need to press them too flat, but after this, they won't expand too much in the oven. So after you've rolled out all of your cookies, you're going to bake these in the oven. And just like the tahini sugar cookies, they are a little soft and fluffy when they first come out of the oven. And these cookies do stay fluffier, but we do want to let them cool on the baking tray for about 5 minutes or so before we remove them with a spatula and let them cool completely on a baking tray. But then after they cool, you are all good to go. These cookies are definitely thicker and fluffier than the tahini sugar cookies. They have a nice doughy, soft center, just like the snickerdoodle cookies that I knew and loved growing up. I personally like to enjoy these with a tall glass of almond milk or maybe even some hot chocolate when I'm feeling fancy. But now we're going to make some chocolate peppermint cookies, which are even better with hot chocolate. I feel like these to me are the quintessential holiday cookie, and if you love chocolate and mint, you're gonna love this combo. So to start out, we're going to mix all of our wet ingredients together. We're going to start again with some coconut sugar, and here I'm using coconut butter in these cookies to make them more allergen friendly. Coconut is technically not by the FDA, but regardless, a lot of people aren't allergic to it. Anyways, you could also use almond butter or another nut butter if you'd like, but I'm rambling, and now we're going to add our so delicious almond milk with cashew. And we're also going to add a little bit of peppermint oil. Then you're going to combine all of this together. And I will say if you're using coconut butter, this mixture is going to be a little bit more thick, but if you use another nut butter, it's going to be a little bit thinner. So if you do use melted coconut butter, I just suggest moving quickly with this recipe because once you add the cold almond milk, it begins to thicken pretty quickly. Now we're going to mix our dry ingredients together, and I actually chose to sift these ingredients together. We're using a gluten-free all-purpose flour blend and some cacao or cocoa powder, and this just helps because cocoa powder tends to have a lot of clumps in it that are pretty hard to break up, and you don't really want a chunk of that in your cookie, so it's just best to sift it out. Then we're also going to add some baking powder and some salt, and well, in the opposite order, but you know, either way, just mix this together to evenly incorporate everything and then add those wet ingredients that you made. As you can see, my coconut butter thickened up pretty well when I mix this. So I started out using a spatula to combine this, but if you do use coconut butter, eventually you're going to need to use your hands, and the dough is going to be a little bit more firm. This is what it's going to look like when it's finished. Well, not technically finished, because next we're going to fold in some chocolate chips. This technically is optional, but I mean, I think double chocolate chip cookies are always better than just one form of chocolate in a cookie. And now we're just going to scoop our cookies out and again press them on a silicone mat or a lined baking tray. They don't spread too much when you bake them, so make them as perfect as you can. And then these are chocolate peppermint cookies, so I decided to go an extra step and add some crushed candy canes on top of these cookies. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but they do add a nice crunchy element, and also the candy canes kind of get sparkly when you cook them, so it almost makes the cookies look glittery, which I think helps to make them look even more festive. So after you've coated all of your cookies, you're going to go ahead and bake them where they get nice and fluffy. And again, just like the other cookies, you want to let them cool in the baking tray for about 5 minutes before transferring to a rack and letting them cool completely. Then once they're cool, you can serve and enjoy. These cookies are the most fluffy, so they have more flour in them than the other recipes, which I personally like. They're more of a shortbread sort of consistency, a soft shortbread. They're not crunchy, but they're very satisfying and delicious. And that's pretty much it, guys. Leave a comment below and tell me what cookie recipe looked the best to you and which one you want to make first. And also, let me know what your favorite holiday cookie is. I think growing up, I loved snickerdoodles. They're probably my favorite cookie ever, but especially around the holidays, I also liked those. There's a lot of names for them. So I think they're called like Italian wedding cookies, or also like shortbread cookies, maybe like Mexican tea cakes. They're like in a lot of different cultures, but it's the really like shortbready buttery cookies with that powdered sugar frosting. I should figure out how to make a vegan version of those. That'd be really good. But either way, I got my plate of cookies. I got my glass of yummy and delicious, so delicious almond milk, and I am pretty much set. This is gonna be a really yummy treat. But before I dig in, I'm just gonna say thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I have more holiday recipes coming to you, and I also have a ton of other ones on my blog. As always, all the cookie recipes are linked below. And there is a ton of other holiday dessert / holiday entree inspiration there as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, you can hit that little button down there. I post 1 to 2 new videos a week. But rambles aside, have an awesome day. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.